Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my review of The Man with the Iron Fists, a movie that took me 12 years to finish. That's not even, 9 years, math. 9 years to finish. That's not even close to the record. The number one is probably the first Underworld movie. I think that one took me like 16 years to finish. And then I got really into all the movies right after that. Anyway, I really remember when this movie was going to come out. I remember it had a pretty good advertising campaign, solid trailer, and it just seemed interesting. The main thing I remember is the guy, he's called Brass Body. He's basically evil Colossus. So I remember thinking that guy just looked really cool, and them showing off the effects in the trailer, which I saw a million times. And then, at first I thought I saw it, and I tried to... I actually don't even think I saw it at all. I think it was one of those ones where I was poor, and it was always like a major decision whether to see it or not. And this would rage on for basically until it was no longer in the theaters. I remember when Congo came out. I never saw it, but man, I thought about it a lot. So anyway, it's written and directed and created by RZA. I think it's pronounced. I know this guy from Repo Man. Not Repo. No, Repo. Whatever. The one with Jude Law. I think that was Repo Man, which I freaking love that movie. Oh my gosh, I've seen it so many times. So he had a really good role in that. I remember he called the IRS soul suckers. He said it like soul suckers. So that's what he was the blind master in the good G.I. Joe movie, the okay one, let's say, the better one. And Snake Eyes, I think, is coming out this Friday, next week. I'm going to see that in the theaters. I know it doesn't look that great, but I'm just too much of a Snake Eyes fan, so I'm going to go see it. So I made it through this movie. It took me not long, I don't know, like 4 days. It's fairly fast for me. And, it's got so many problems. It's just got so many problems. It was definitely a good decision not to spend money I didn't have in 2012 to go see it in theaters. That being said, it has promise. You know, you read about these movies where the director got fired 1 week in, and they got replaced by John Frankenheimer or whatever. This really needed that situation, but it's awkward because you're gonna fire RZA from the movie he stars in, co-wrote, and a concept he created. Like, at some point, they were like in for a penny, in for a pound, so they just let him stay, and it's just not good. So first of all, as an action movie, the action scenes don't work. Specifically, although this also gets blamed on the producer and the studio and the editor, literally the shots don't cut together. Like, you don't have a good setup, cut to this. They just don't cut together well. The wire fu is more wire than fu. And it just doesn't work. Now let's talk about the pacing, or rather, the empty space where the pacing should be. Yehoshaphat! You obviously were very happy to have Russell Crowe on the set there, RZA. You were ecstatic. You gave him so much screen time, and honestly, I don't think the character was in the script that much. I do not believe in the initial script or, whatever they started casting on. He doesn't feel like a character that would have been in as much as he was because he doesn't do much. At one point, you're at a scene with him where it's basically like the third scene where he's done the same exact thing. I really think it was one of those situations where they got so excited, and he was just kind of whatever. They filmed it in New Zealand, wherever they filmed it. And Russell Crowe was just like, well, you got me for 7 days. And I just shot all my scenes in 3 days. Can I leave? And they're like, no, we'll come up with more stuff for you because we already paid you a lot. Okay. And then they give him the script. He's like, we've already shot this scene. No, it's slightly different on the same set, and we're going to shoot it again. So he's like, he doesn't care. He's probably drunk. So I have never seen so many scenes that were effectively the same scene. So the idea is it's basically a live action anime. RZA plays a blacksmith who ran away from America because of slavery. And oh boy, that flashback did not do anything. Well, I guess the flashback, I'll talk about the flashback. So the flashback is he's an escaped slave, or rather he was freed by the slave owner, but then some other guys said, well, whatever, and they just crumpled up the freedom thing. It feels like that's something you would get laminated. If you were a slave and you got freed, don't just carry that thing around in your pocket, laminate it. I know people are saying lamination. Go talk to George Washington Carver. He would have taken some peanut oil, and you don't just carry it around in your pocket and hand it to someone who's obviously racist. You like hold it back, and when he grabs it, it's like, you can see. No. So they crumble up his thing, so he kills one of them by accident. His mom knocks another one out, so he has to run away. The problem with the scene is it's literally just the N-word at the end of every sentence. So you got the evil white guys, and they come in, and it's just the N-word in every single sentence. The thing is, the N-word, it's very dramatic. It's a huge matzo ball, no pun intended. Once you throw it out there, it's like a nuke. You can't go above a nuke. Like, you dropped a nuke. That's another N-word, nuke. Once you drop a nuke, you can't just drop like 3 more nukes. Everything got nuked. So the writing is not good. The pacing is the worst pacing I've ever seen in a movie. The movie effectively starts halfway through. You could easily have a couple of title cards explain to you what happened in the first hour, and then just start from there. Now let's talk about the good stuff. It looks beautiful. It looks like, so I looked it up, the budget is not high. And you can really tell that from whenever they do digital effects. Like, there's a point where you just got to see it, at least on the unrated extended edition. They show essentially a preview for another movie with evil birdmen, and I'm pretty sure they left some previs in there. Just like straight up previs, not finished effects. Like, we're showing previs in a movie. Like, what do you think you are? Ultraviolet? So anyway, So after they show some straight up previs in a movie, they move, well, that's the end. So the writing is bad, the pacing is terrible, but the sets are amazing. So much, I felt like the sets cost more than what I read the budget was, so I was confused. It felt like one of those ones where, you read the making of, and they're like, such and such, Choi Hark movie was filming, and then they finished, and they shot on the sets of the Choi Hark movie. It's like, beautiful sets, beautiful locations, beautiful sets. Everything looked great. And I did like RZA's character. He's not a good actor. I think he knows that. I think that's why he just always put Russell Crowe in every scene, even if Russell had nothing to do. But there's a good variety of actors. There's this one guy who's basically cool guy, X-Blade, something like that. It felt like he was like it was kind of like a Duke Flint situation where you're like, it's called The Man with the Iron Fist, but this guy is more clearly a hero in this type of movie. I'm blanking on his name, but he's like Mr. Cool guy. So you're not sure who the main character is because it feels like it's Russell Crowe, but he doesn't really do much. I mean, he does a little at the beginning, and then he does like nothing for like an hour and a half except for just the same 3 things over and over again. There's lots of very beautiful women who don't have much to do. You got the idea that everyone was very excited about the idea of this, and I'm guessing RZA, like he would take you out to dinner, or you'd be driving a set and he'd start telling you about all of his ideas and you'd get like really, really excited, and then it just doesn't deliver. Then there's the budget concerns. So you have a guy called Brass Body who can turn to brass when they have the money for it. Sometimes he turns entirely into brass. Sometimes it's just parts of his body. Sometimes it's only parts of his body when they get hit by something. And sometimes something hits his body. It makes a sound like it hit brass, but it's just flesh. So it feels like this was supposed to be a character named like Colossus. And they're like, we do not have the budget for that. Let's just have him partially armored up. Okay, what are the rules for that? There are no. We're going to do everything completely different, not just from scene to scene, but from shot to shot within the same scene. Sets itself up for a sequel that, if I read online, it seems solid. It also seems nothing special. There was something special somewhere in the creation of this movie. There was something really, really special that attracted a whole lot of people, because for the amount of name actors, I think it was produced by Quentin Tarantino, right? It was. So maybe that was it. It's like, oh, I got a Quentin Tarantino movie, on my resume. Well, it's like produced by, and you like visit the set for like a day and a half. I got a Quentin Tarantino movie on my resume. Shut the hell up. So I think it might have been that type of situation. Maybe Quentin was in on some of the meetings. It got people really hyped. Everyone likes the RZA. Yeah. I was really, really hoping this is be one of those movies. It's like, well, the end fight is no, it doesn't. It really feels like, and there was this phenomenon about 15 years ago, where like 1 million rappers were becoming actors, and then they were also like pitching all of these, comic book companies. Oh, and it was always like them as like the coolest guy ever. I really think this should have been a comic. I think it should have been a comic. I think it should have been RZA and someone like Carr Andrews, if you know who Carr Andrews is. And it would have been freaking amazing. Carr Andrews would have needed to be like, RZA, this is a cool idea. Let me run with it. Somebody like Carr Andrews completely could have made The Man with the Iron Fists, and Carr Andrews later did Iron Fist. I think he did that about 6-8 years ago. So it would have been, a little bit after this movie. It would have been really, really great. And then maybe later, a better writer-director could have made it into a really, really cool movie. But it just, it's almost there, man. Like, it's almost there. It reminds me of, you see this on Instagram, sometimes Twitter, where it'll be some really good digital artist, and it'll be like, this is me 10 years ago. And you see where their style came from, but you also see like the improvement. It feels like this is that before picture. You know what I mean? This is my OC that I created when I was in junior high, and now I'm working at, Lucasfilm. But there was a lot that happened in that 10 years. There was a lot of improvement. And so that's what it feels like. It feels like this was the before. It feels like they should be making that movie right now, and it should be, whoever, a good writer-director, adapting a really great graphic novel or miniseries. I am sure the rights are very complicated right now. I'm doing an Expendables graphic novel, and that was very simple because Sylvester Stallone, he has the media print rights to it. So literally, we just dealt directly with him. But typically, we sold the foreign rights to this, and we got the domestic rights, but it's, we didn't say who has the print. It would be really, really good. It could make an awesome, awesome comic book. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll have more. What am I watching right now? I'm watching like 8 different things. Thief by Michael Mann and a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.